Xin chào tất cả các bạn, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau bước sang một nội dung cực kỳ thú vị và quan trọng trong hậu kỳ video, đó là chương 5, hiệu ứng màu sắc, hay thuật ngữ chuyên ngành mà các bạn sẽ nghe rất nhiều, đó là Color Grading and Correction. Đây có thể ví như là bước trang điểm cuối cùng để biến nhìn thước phim thô mộc thành một tác phẩm nghệ thuật thực thụ. Đầu tiên, để hiểu tại sao chúng ta phải tốn công chỉnh màu, mình sẽ chia sẻ với các bạn về sự ảnh hưởng của màu sắc trong video, cũng như nói chung về vai trò của nó. Màu sắc không chỉ đơn giản là đẹp hay xấu, mà nó còn là công cụ kể chuyện đắc lực. Nó định hướng cảm xúc khán giả, tạo ra tâm trạng, mood cho phim. Ví dụ như màu xanh lạnh lẽo cho phim kinh dị hay vàng ấm áp cho phim tình cảm. Tuy nhiên, để làm chủ được nghệ thuật đó, chúng ta không thể chỉnh theo cảm tính được. Chúng ta cần nắm vững phần kỹ thuật tại mục Lý thuyết màu sắc và không gian màu. Ở phần này, chúng ta sẽ làm quen với các khái niệm như RGB, HSL hay ACS để hiểu tận gốc xem máy tính và màn hình xử lý màu sắc như thế nào. Tiếp theo, một nội dung then chốt của bài hôm nay là phân biệt giữa Color Correction và Color Grading. Rất nhiều bạn mới vào nghề thường nhầm lẫn hai khái niệm này là một, nhưng thực tế, chúng có mục đích hoàn toàn khác nhau. Một bên là sửa lỗi kỹ thuật, còn một bên là sáng tạo nghệ thuật. Và để bắt đầu quy trình này, chúng ta sẽ đi sâu vào phần Color Correction, hiệu chỉnh màu cơ bản trước, cụ thể là tìm hiểu về khái niệm của nó. Chúng ta sẽ cùng xem bước nền tảng này giúp chúng ta đưa hình ảnh về trạng thái trung tính và tự nhiên nhất như thế nào trước khi bắt đầu bất kỳ sự sáng tạo nào khác. Nào, bây giờ chúng ta cùng bắt đầu nhé! Trong video và phim ảnh, màu sắc không chỉ đơn thuần là để làm cho hình ảnh đẹp hơn, mà màu sắc còn đóng vai trò rất quan trọng trong việc truyền tải cảm xúc, nội dung và thông điệp đến người xem. Trước hết, màu sắc có ảnh hưởng trực tiếp đến cảm xúc. Ví dụ, những gam màu nóng như đỏ, cam, vàng thường tạo cảm giác ấm áp, vui vẻ, hạnh phúc hoặc sôi động. Ngược lại, các gam màu lạnh như xanh dương, xanh lục, tím thường tạo cảm giác buồn bã, cô đơn, lạnh lẽo hoặc căng thẳng. Chỉ cần thay đổi tông màu, cùng một khung cảnh nhưng cảm xúc người xem đã hoàn toàn khác nhau. Tiếp theo, màu sắc còn giúp thể hiện nội dung và bối cảnh của video. Ví dụ, trong các cảnh hồi tưởng, người ta thường dùng màu nhạt hoặc hơi ngã vàng để tạo cảm giác hoài niệm. Trong các phim hành động, màu sắc thường có độ tương phản cao để tạo cảm giác mạnh mẽ và kịch tính. Trong các video quảng cáo, màu sắc rực rỡ thường được sử dụng để thu hút sự chú ý của người xem. Ngoài ra, màu sắc còn giúp thể hiện tính cách nhân vật. Một nhân vật thường xuyên xuất hiện với tông màu tối có thể tạo cảm giác bí ẩn, trầm lắng. Ngược lại, nhân vật xuất hiện với tông màu sáng, rực rỡ thường mang hình ảnh tích cực, năng động. Bên cạnh yếu tố cảm xúc, màu sắc cũng quyết định rất lớn đến độ chuyên nghiệp của video. Một video không được chỉnh màu thường sẽ bị ám vàng, ám xanh, màu da không tự nhiên và hình ảnh trông thiếu sức sống. Khi được chỉnh màu đúng cách, video trở nên hài hòa hơn, dễ nhìn hơn và tạo được thiện cảm với người xem. Tóm lại, màu sắc trong video không chỉ dùng để làm đẹp hình ảnh mà còn là công cụ quan trọng để truyền tải cảm xúc, nội dung, xây dựng nhân vật và nâng cao chất lượng, giá trị thẩm mỹ của sản phẩm video. Như vậy, chúng ta đã thấy được màu sắc ảnh hưởng rất lớn đến cảm xúc và chất lượng của một video. Tuy nhiên, để có thể chỉnh màu một cách chính xác và hiệu quả, chúng ta cần hiểu rõ màu sắc được hình thành như thế nào và được kiểm soát ra sao trong quá trình hậu kỳ. Đó cũng chính là nội dung mà mình sẽ tiếp tục trình bày ngay sau đây.
RGB stands for red, green, and blue, and it's the color model used by digital screens. Your phone, laptop, TV, or even the smartwatch on your wrist. The way it works is actually quite fascinating. Screens don't really have colors in the way a paint palette does. Instead, they use light. By mixing different intensities of red, green, and blue light, they can create a full spectrum of colors. For example, if all three colors of light are turned on at full strength, you see white. If they're all off, you see black. And if you mix just red and green light, your eyes perceive yellow. This system is called an additive color model because you're literally adding light to create new colors. That's why screens feel so bright and vibrant. Light is being emitted directly into your eyes.
Hey friends, today we're diving into a colorful adventure with CSS HSL Colors. Imagine your computer screen as a magical paint palette where you mix not just paint, but light. In the land of CSS, colors come to life in many ways, and one of them is through HSL, which stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. Hue is like the flavor of our color, ranging from 0 to 360 degrees on the color wheel. 0 gives us spicy red, 120 is fresh green, and 240 is cool blue. Saturation is how rich or intense our color is. 0% is like a gray day, while 100% is full-on color blast. Lightness tells us how much light our color wants. 0% is the night sky, 50% is just right, and 100% is pure daylight. Let's play. Watch as we mix some magic. Changing hues, adjusting saturation, and tweaking lightness, we can create a whole rainbow of colors, from fiery reds to ocean blues and even mystical purples. Remember, saturation is our color's intensity, from the purest colors to shades of gray, and lightness, it's all about adding light or shadows to our colors, from blackest blacks to whitest whites. And if you love shades of gray, just set hue and saturation to 0 and play with lightness. You'll get everything from shadowy darks to bright lights. Now for a sprinkle of magic. HSLA. Adding an A for alpha lets us control the opacity. It's like our color's invisibility cloak. Let's experiment. By adjusting the alpha, we can make our colors whisper or shout. Here's how it looks with different levels of visibility. And that's the magic of CSS, HSL, and HSLA colors. With these tools, you're not just coding, you're painting with light. Keep experimenting, and soon, you'll be a color wizard too. Thanks for watching.
Hey, there is simply a better way to color grade in Premiere Pro, and you will learn it in this video. I'll show you how you can match all cameras together, for example making your footage look like an Arri Alexa, then how to color correct like your footage is raw even if your camera doesn't shoot raw. We'll fix white balance and exposure with a push of a button, and I'll promise you that your color grading will get much better and faster. So, this better way of color grading is based on the Academy Color Encoding System, also known as ACES. This is a color grading system that they use, for example, at Marvel Studios and at many Netflix shows, and more movies are made with ACES. The full ACES workflow is rather complicated because it's meant for Hollywood-level productions, and as a bit of a deal breaker, it's not currently supported in Premiere Pro. So I guess that's the end of this tutorial then. Well, actually, there is a way to use the system in Premiere Pro, and it's easier. This simple way to color grade is called ACES Lite. And as a disclaimer, I need to emphasize that this is different from the official ACES workflow to some degree. This method is developed by me, and I'm not associated with Academy. I might end up in trouble if I don't say this.
Tiếp theo, chúng ta sẽ đi vào một phần cực kỳ quan trọng mà mình thấy rất nhiều bạn mới vào nghề hay bị nhầm lẫn. Đó là sự khác biệt giữa Color Correction và Color Grading. Nghe thì có vẻ na ná nhau, nhưng thực tế, vai trò của chúng trong quy trình hậu kỳ là hoàn toàn khác biệt. Đầu tiên, hãy nói về Color Correction, hay dịch ra là hiệu chỉnh màu cơ bản. Các bạn hãy hình dung thế này. Đây là bước nền tảng kỹ thuật đầu tiên bắt buộc phải làm. Mục đích chính của nó là sửa lỗi. Khi quay phim, có thể chúng ta bị sai cân bằng trắng, white balance, hình ảnh bị quá tối hoặc quá sáng do sai exposure. Nhiệm vụ của correction là đưa tất cả những cái đó về trạng thái trung tính và tự nhiên nhất, làm sao cho hình ảnh trên màn hình giống hệt với những gì mắt chúng ta nhìn thấy ngoài thực tế. Sau khi đã làm sạch và chuẩn rồi, chúng ta mới bước sang color grading, hay còn gọi là phân loại màu. Nếu correction là làm cho video đúng kỹ thuật, thì grading là bước chuyển nó sang đẹp nghệ thuật. Đây là sân chơi của sự sáng tạo chủ quan. Lúc này các bạn không còn chỉnh cho nó giống thực tế nữa, mà là chỉnh để tạo mood, tâm trạng. Ví dụ, bạn muốn khán giả cảm thấy lạnh lẽo, sợ hãi thì bạn phủ một tông xanh dương ám muội. Hay muốn tạo cảm giác hoài niệm, ấm áp thì đẩy tông vàng lên. Màu sắc lúc này thay lời thoại để kể chuyện. Có một câu ví von rất hay để các bạn dễ nhớ. Nếu coi video mộc là một khuôn mặt thì color correction chính là bước rửa mặt, chăm sóc da cho sạch sẽ. Còn color grading chính là bước trang điểm, make up để tỏa sáng. Bạn không thể trang điểm đẹp trên một làn da chưa được làm sạch, đúng không ạ? Vì vậy, quy tắc vàng là luôn làm correction trước để cân bằng, sau đó mới grading để tạo phong cách. Để nắm rõ quy trình thực hiện cụ thể từng bước ra sao, ngay bây giờ chúng ta cùng đi vào phân tích sâu hơn nhé.
Hey guys, Tom here from FX Zone by Artlist. If you're making any type of content, then I'm sure that you always want your image to look as consistent as possible. You don't want the color to shift when you go from one angle to another. It just looks weird. So before you start stylizing and grading your footage, you need to first color correct it so everything is set up and ready to go. Film colorists process the image so that everything is looking as natural and unprocessed as possible. So basically how you actually captured it in camera. The way the human eye sees it, if you will. And for you VFX artists out there, this process can optimize the footage so it's ready and you can integrate your assets far smoother. To sum up the process, here's how color correction works. First, you're going to choose a frame that shows as much detail in color and light as possible. Then you're going to set the white balance using anything that is within frame. And if you've watched our white balance explained video, then you would know to hold up a sheet of white paper or card just to get that information before you start filming. Then we're going to fix the tones using the Ansel Adams exposure chart and our scopes. We're going to color match if we need to adjust anything, and then finally apply a LUT or start color grading. So that's the summary and sounds pretty straightforward. So let's go into a bit more detail. Lookup tables, otherwise known as LUTs, are a great way for you to quickly fix or even grade some of your footage, though they're usually applied after correction has occurred. That being said, if you're on a camera like the Blackmagic Pro or perhaps a GH5, many of these cameras do come with a LUT that automatically adjusts your camera's image. All these LUTs do is process your image so it's ready for further correction and also color grading. It gets the black and white values in the correct space so everything looks as you intended to capture it. But let's say that you don't have a lookup table to work with. How can you start correcting your footage? So the first thing that we're going to do is select a frame that sums up the image perfectly. If you're using something like a color card or a clapperboard, then holding that before a take can show a range of colors so you can start matching everything up. If you don't have one of those, then just go through your footage and try and get the best possible answer so you can see all the blues, the reds, greens, everything that you're going to need. Once you have your frame selected, now it's time to set the white balance. The white balance should be set in camera first. This is just an additional process to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. So after the white balance, we then go into first exposure, and then we go into color. We need to essentially control the shadows, midtones, and highlights. And the best way to monitor these is by using scopes. Luckily, HitFilm has a workspace that is intended for colorists. So if you go up to workspace, then you can actually find the colorist workspace, and this will open up the scopes for you. This feature is not available in HitFilm Express, but you can download the add-on or try out the HitFilm Pro demo if you are curious and want to learn. So when it opens up, you'll be presented with graphs. Let's quickly go through the type of graphs that are available in scopes. First, we have our waveform. Now, this is going to be the thing that we actually start measuring our exposure with. With this graph, we can make out our exposure as well as the RGB values, red, green, and blue. The parade is the division of the RGB values, so it's separated red, green, and blue, so you can see if they're evenly spread out. Then we have the vector scope. Now, this one looks a little bit chaotic, but what this is doing is spreading out all of the different colors so you can see which one has a higher saturation. Then finally, we have the histogram, which is very similar to one that you might find on a camera. All they do is monitor the division between the highlights and shadows. So you want everything kind of being in the center. So because we want to focus first on exposure, we're going to use the waveform. So the waveform goes from 0 to 100. At 0, it's black. That is where we want our black values to be. Whereas 100 is where we want our highlights to be. So the light behind me, for example, that should be at 100 because it's the brightest thing in the shot. If you're using 16 or 32 color bit, then you'll actually have a little bit more. It should go from -20 to 120, but the same principles apply. So where do you set your levels for exposure? Well, if you're unsure, then Ansel Adams is the man to thank. He made up a exposure chart, which you can use to make sure that your image is hitting the right marks. All that we're going to be doing is converting it over to fit our waveform. So zone 1 is going to be 10. Zone 7 is going to be 70. It's basically times it by 10. We can all do math, right? So for example, zone 7 seems to be the correct exposure for pale skin, like myself. So we want to make sure that that is exposed to the correct mark. Using a mask around the particular feature is a great way to make sure that you are hitting those marks. Plus there may be so much going on in your scene that you want to focus solely on one area. If you feel like you need to adjust it, then simply add a curves effect or maybe a levels, then start bringing in the shadows, highlights, and then the midtones. And again, the curves is divided with a grid that you can also kind of break down into different stages. Once you feel happy with how your exposure is looking, then it's time to move on to color. We've first set the white balance, so that is great. But what you want to do is now monitor the color tones. And you can do that by using the vector scope and also the parade. Before you start going with a stylized moody grade, what you first want to do is make sure that everything is evenly balanced. So with the vector scope, you want everything to kind of be gathered around the center and evenly spread out. We don't want anything going too far out. It's here on the vector scope that you'll notice a small line. This is the suggested range for skin tones. So if you're unsure of what sort of color range you want your skin tones to be at, that is the line that you need to try and match up to. So once again, mask the area and then try and balance it to fit on that line. Or in the parade, you want everything to kind of be a nice consistent level. You need to bear in mind what your image is. If I held up my hand to the camera, then there's going to be a lot of red in that area because it's my hand. But what you want to do is keep everything evenly balanced for now. If you find that your image has all the data gathered in the center and you can't really make out which direction things are going in, then I would suggest applying a hue and saturation effect and then just cranking up the saturation until you can make things out. It's here in the hue and saturation effect that we can actually adjust and change some of the tones. So you can introduce a little bit more red or maybe perhaps a little bit more green. Once you find that everything is evenly balanced on your scopes, then it's time to apply a lookup table and everything should just click into place. The LUT effect also has a strength feature, so you can actually dial in how strong you want that look to be. Once you have everything applied, then it's time to make further adjustments using similar methods, so hue and saturation, or maybe even the color wheels if you feel brave. And start tweaking the image again to make sure that your skin tones are in the right place and you have the look that you want. Now, this isn't a copy and paste job. You need to then go to your second clip and then do the process again. Color correction is a long process, but I can guarantee if you put the time into it, your sequences and content will look consistently gorgeous.
Forget about nodes, color wheels, and all the confusing menus you see in the DaVinci Resolve color menu. In this video, I'll show you how to make your footage look awesome using only the most essential and simple color correction sliders. Because as a beginner, you should be keeping your workflow simple and not learning overcomplicated features that you simply don't need for average day-to-day projects like YouTube videos. Okay, here I am inside DaVinci Resolve. This is my timeline and these are the clips you just watched. What I'm going to do next is head over from the Edit tab to the Color tab, and this is where all the big scary color wheels and scopes and endless color menus have probably turned you off in the past. Now, the first step we're going to take here is selecting whether we want our clips to be color graded individually or collectively. Since here on the timeline, while I do have one source clip, I've cut that up into multiple sections, represented by these 3 thumbnails on the color page. So let's follow step 1, and that is exposure. And the first place to start here is with contrast. Sometimes clips come out with high contrast out of the camera, like this one here, and other times they come out with low contrast and need to be fixed. So start your color correction by moving the slider left and right until you find a contrast level that looks natural to what your scene would look like in real life in terms of contrast. I like to go left and right a couple of times with all these settings because color correction really is a process of experimentation, trying all the sliders to the left, to the right, until you find the sweet spot on each. So I'm going to leave my contrast around here, and the next setting that is directly related to contrast is pivot, which essentially has to do with which parts of your image will get these contrast adjustments added. Will it be the highlights, the shadows, or somewhere in between? So if you have a play with that, you'll see your image get less contrasty and more contrasty. I like to play with both of these settings simultaneously until I get the exact contrast level that looks good, and right now it's looking around there. Okay, the next exposure setting is down here in shadows and highlights. So again, with all of your shots, test these out. See if your shot needs the shadows to be boosted. Here I've done an extreme boost all the way up. That's way too far. And all the way way to the left is way too underexposed, but I'm thinking somewhere maybe around 5 will be good. And next with highlights, so if you bring your highlights down, this will minimize any overexposure in your brightest areas. If you take a look here around my face and the neon behind me, if I turn this right up, you'll notice that parts of both things turn to pure white. This is a classic case of overblown highlights. So I like to drag mine right down until all the detail is recovered, which is somewhere around there. Next, it's time to move on to color, and there are a few simple color settings here. Again, you want to do this by eye when setting all of these, and the first place I'd usually go would be color boost. So here I'm going to drag this slider to the right, and my less colorful areas are becoming more colorful now without over intensifying the already colorful areas like the neon. Whereas again, if you just turn saturation up like this, suddenly I become an Oompa Loompa in an igloo. I don't really want to be an Oompa Loompa, so I'll always dial it back just a little bit. However, this is also where color temperature comes in, because generally skin tones show up more on the warm side. So by simply dragging the temperature slider slightly to the left, like so, my skin tones are now looking much more normal, while the background is just as colorful as it was before, which gives me more flexibility to turn the color boost up a little bit more, making all of my nice colors around my frame even more colorful without ruining my skin tones. Some other color sliders worth mentioning are tint. Sometimes, for example, my lights in the room are either green or my camera is casting a slight magenta tone onto my video, which is where I'll just adjust it left and right a little bit. So here I brought it down to -14 on the green side, and that has made my skin tones look just a little bit more natural. The next is hue, and this one is really silly. I don't even know why they include it in DaVinci, and what that does is it changes the colors universally across your entire image. So if you want to look like a Martian, then go ahead and turn that all the way up. Finally, there's luminance mix, and I wouldn't bother with this one because it doesn't really do a whole lot compared to the other sliders. Now for the exciting part. So this is what the color grade looks like. You saw me do it, but you've probably already forgotten what the before looks like. Well, I'm going to remind you of that. So up the top, you'll see this colorful red circle that is sparkling. If you click that, that will show you your before. So you can click it on and off to see your before and after. The final setting here in this super beginner friendly color correction menu is mids and detail, and what this essentially means is sharpening. So if you drag that all the way up, it's going to sharpen the life out of your images. Clearly this now looks over sharpened. I brought it up to 100, but you might want to consider dragging it up to between 10 and 20 if you have a talking head like I do, because it will just help sharpen out the eyes and details around the face without overdoing it. I'm glad you asked. Here I've imported in a shot of the Apple store from Singapore that I got on my recent trip there. How cool is that, by the way? It's literally a floating orb in the middle of the harbor. Anyway, yes, this same process applies. So again, you'd start with your contrast and find a level that looks good and natural and gives your scene a chance to really pop out and not blend in too much with the background. Then adjust the highlights and shadows, followed by the color boost to a natural level and the temperature to make it look the right level of warmth. And let's take a look. Before, after. Pretty good.
Today we're going to be talking about LUTs, a little bit about color grading, a little bit about color correcting, because I realize it's something we don't really talk about on this channel that much, so let's fix that today. Okay, so first let's start with the definition of LUT. What is a LUT? LUT stands for lookup table. Essentially, it is a fancy little tool that says, hey, make the colors of my footage this. And all you have to do is apply it to your footage. Isn't that fantastic? If you've never used one before, I'm about to blow your mind. If you have, and really you're just here to learn a little bit more about color grading, we've got some info for you as well. So what are the advantages of using a LUT? For one, it saves you a ton of time. If you have a bunch of edits to do, this is an easy way to color grade your footage super fast. On the other hand, if you're not an experienced color grader, color corrector, you're new to video editing, this is a great way to get a high quality color grade or something that looks really good to the average person, but you may not necessarily be the best at it. So it's a bit of a shortcut for you. And last but not least, say you like color grading. You're good at it, you're decent at it, it, but this may be a fun way for you to get a look to your footage that you wouldn't have necessarily been able to achieve on your own. So if you're looking for like a Becky and Chris look, or maybe you're looking for a Lizzie Pierce look, then maybe you would pick up one of my LUTs. So at the end of the day, we're here to make money, aren't we? We need to serve our clients. We need to serve whoever it is we're making this video for. Occasionally you are making videos for yourself, but that's not what we're going to talk about right now. So what do your clients want? Okay, they want something high quality, they want something done on time, and they want something that is on budget. And LUTs are a great way for you to meet all of those expectations. Even though you, as the perfectionist behind the video, may want to spend extra time on it, you know it's taken you an hour or more to color grade that footage, to get it looking perfect. And at the end of the day, your client doesn't know that. All they're seeing is the final video, and they don't really care how you got from A to B. They just want it done right. So sometimes it's a lot easier and efficient for you, and will make you more money, still get you that high quality project if you're using LUTs. So before we actually move into Premiere, let's talk really quickly about the difference between color correcting and color grading, because I know I kind of blew past that. So if you're new to this space, color correcting is the first set of adjustments that you make to your footage to get it back to looking somewhat normal. So if you're shooting S-Log, for example, it's really flat. There is nothing happening there. So first you need to color correct it and make some really simple, broad adjustments to your footage to get it looking normal again. Give us some flesh colored, you know, some warmth back in our skin. Give us some flesh back to our skin. Then when you move on to color grading, that's where you can have a bit more fun. That's where you're creating a more stylized look for your footage, and you can add some blues to the shadows. You can maybe add some greens to your highlights. You can really start to play around and give your footage a unique style and feel. Normally, you're applying those on different layers so that you can adjust each individually and go back and make those changes later. But again, I'm going to explain that right now. I'm getting ahead of myself. So what do we need to start? We need a project, which I've conveniently laid out for you. We need some footage, which I have already loaded into Premiere, and we are ready to go. So today we are going to be using my new LUT pack. It's a LUT bundle that I have available on my website right now, and it has 3 LUTs in it. Now I use these LUTs for literally everything I have, because in my personal opinion, I would rather have 3 really good LUTs that work on all my footage and contribute to the unique look I have going on my channel than 10 different ones that I'm cycling between. If you guys want to pick that up, there's a link in the description box below. It is regular price right now, but if you guys want to hop onto the sale that's happening on the 13th, which when this goes live, I believe it should be tomorrow, then sign up in the description box below and you will get access to that sale. But you'll only get it if you sign up. It's not going out for everybody. It's only for people who sign up below. So moving on. First, so I've pulled all of my clips into the timeline down here. We're just gonna work with this one that we shot right before filming this video. That's the one we're going to be color correcting and then color grading later on. All right, so first we're gonna go ahead and make a new adjustment layer. And the reason it's a good idea to build this on an adjustment layer, so to add your color correction and then your LUT or your color grading on adjustment layers, is because then you can go back and if you make a mistake, you can fix it essentially, and you still have your plain footage available at the bottom without any adjustments to it. If you decide you want a different look later on, you can just do one full sweep of that adjustment layer or a new adjustment layer and make that correction. So it's just better workflow. So drag that adjustment layer onto your clip, and this is going to be our color correction. So we're actually going to do this with a LUT. That's another thing I want to mention is a lot of times if you're working with a certain type of footage or a certain picture profile, there are LUTs already made to kind of bring that raw footage back to life, essentially. So to this adjustment layer, we're going to be applying a Rec. 709 LUT because we shot this footage in S-Log 3. So we're gonna bring it back to life, essentially. You wanna open up your Lumetri or Lumetri, I don't know how you guys say it. I say Lumetri, please don't come for me in the comments. Color panel over here. If it's not open and available for you, then all you have to do is go to Window and select Lumetri. This is literally why I hate doing these videos, is because I have to say Lumetri.
Oh my.
I always apply my LUT in the creative drop down instead of the basic correction drop down because it gives you this little intensity slider right here, and it's just a lot easier for you to be able to manipulate the LUT that way. You'll want to save your LUTs to a folder somewhere that you can access them easily. So in this case, just for the purpose of this video, I have it on my desktop, but make sure you're saving the LUTs in a place that is safe and you can access them easily and you always know where they are. So I've got my S-Log3 to Rec 709 LUT here, and I'm just going to apply it to my footage. And as you can see, now I am a human again, and I have rosy cheeks, and there is actually some color in the room. First, I can just, it's very saturated, so I'm just gonna reduce the intensity of the LUT overall. And then we're going to specifically adjust those warmer tones in the image. So if you go into the curves down here, there's a hue versus saturation curve, and that is the one we're gonna work with. So you can either just make your pen points to assume where the color is that you want to adjust, or I like to use the dropper tool, and it's kind of like my hair or this wooden shelf up here that looks a little too yellow to me. So I thought that was yellow, apparently it's red, so we're just gonna desaturate that a little bit. As you can see, if I brought it all the way down, my lips are black, that's gross. If I brought it all the way up, that's way too saturated. So little adjustments here. For an initial color correction, that looks just fine. We are going to go ahead and make another adjustment layer. I'm actually just gonna copy this one, pull it up, delete the Lumetri color I already made. Okay, so now the fun part, we're gonna get into the color grading. Add some fun colors to this, shall we? So go back into your creative dropdown. Now we're gonna add one of my LUTs. And because in the office, we made this sage LUT specifically for rooms with a lot of white in them, it has a little bit of a greeny, vintage, but still clean feel. So that's the one we're gonna apply for this room. And obviously that looks really intense right now, but they all do. Because it's a one-click kind of step, there are going to be some little tweaks you have to make, but this does all the heavy lifting for you. So all I'm gonna do is reduce the intensity just to begin with here. And again, the yellows in the image they're a little bit intense. So what we're going to do is, because the issue here is mainly falling on my skin tone, my hair, and the shelves again, it's the warmer tones in the image. So we're gonna go into HSL secondary. And again, you can either select reds, yellow, and it'll automatically give you a selection of colors that you'll be able to edit. Or my personal favorite, you can use the dropper and it'll give you that selection in itself. If you want to see exactly what part of your image is being selected, you can toggle this little color gray area down here, and it shows you that, okay, it's my hair and the shelf that's kind of being picked up right now, but I also want my skin tones to be included. Now, because as you can see, the selection it's made on the color is a bit intense. The edges of it are a bit harsh. We just want to smooth out the edges of the mask that we're creating. So we're gonna bring up the denoise and we're gonna bring up the blur. Honestly, I'm just gonna desaturate it a little bit and see what it does. And I like to toggle this on and off to see the greater effect it's having in the image as a whole, because sometimes I find it hard to know what I'm doing when the color gray selection is on. You can also have your Lumetri scopes open over here if that helps you. Sometimes I do that. And my goal in this case would be to have this little white ghost kind of pointing between the red and the yellow here. Cool. I'm pretty happy with that. So now this would be the full, I'll just play it through for you guys. This would be the actual color correction and color grade on the footage. I look like a real person. There's still a bit of that greeny tone, which I like for the room and for our vibe on our videos. Very clean. If you guys want to see, let's just pick a part in the video where I'm looking at the camera just for fun. That's not awkward at all. We toggle off the color grade. That's our correction. If you toggle off the correction, that is our S-Log3 footage. So just as a quick little demo for you guys, I'll show you what some of these LUTs look like on this other footage here, but I won't walk you through the actual correction and grade steps that I do. I'll just show you what the finished looks look like applied to this footage. So here is this shoreline somewhere in the world. That's the footage by itself. This is with my color corrections added, and this is with the grade. Now this LUT is called the Solstice LUT. I've had it available for quite a long time now. It just creates kind of like a teal and orange look. Great way to punch up any of your footage. I usually use this in my films or any like fancy B-roll sequences, client work that has to be a bit more cinematic, travel footage, that kind of thing. Now this last clip, this is just a behind the scenes of our video with Hannah, and we'll have that linked up here as well if you guys want to take a look at it. That's with just the footage by itself. This is with the color corrections added, and this is with our grade. So this is called our go-to LUT. It is a bit more of like a light blue, creamy, very clean look. So I would recommend this for any of your corporate work, interviews, that kind of thing. It's one of my favorites because I just think it looks great on everyone and it makes your skin tones look really good. It makes the room look really bright and airy and clean. I just keep repeating the word clean because that was kind of the idea with the light blue highlights. So now let's just remove all of this from our timeline, and I'm going to show you guys how I would do a quick color grade, not correction, on this footage from scratch without a LUT, because I just want to show you how long it takes and how much effort it would require for me to get back to this look. Okay, let's go back. Let's drag on a new adjustment layer, starting from scratch. "12 to 15 minutes for something that doesn't look that great. And I would have been done this by now with my LUT that I had already created because that took me a long time to make it perfect. As a non-colorist, this is what this one looks like that I just made. It's fine. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it, but I like the LUT I spent more time on more, and it takes me less time to apply it because I spent the time in the past making it.
Here's how to color correct video for beginners quickly and easily. This will help you create awesome looking videos without needing to master pro level software. And I'll also share some cool AI color correction tools that are changing the game with what's possible. So I'm going to show you how to do it first with basic tools, the things that you would find in most video editing software. And then I'm going to move on to some more pro and AI options as well. Alright, so for this first example, I've just opened up VN Video Editor, which is an amazing free video editing tool on iOS, on Android, and on Mac. And I've got a clip here in the timeline that we're going to correct. So no matter what tool you're using, you want to bring up your color controls. So to do that here, I'm going to select the clip. I'm going to come over here to our color controls. And then in a lot of programs these days, you're going to have a choice between applying filters, which are essentially like preset grades or looks that you could apply to your video. So obviously if you find something in here that is exactly what you're after, then by all means you can use that. But I'm going to go back to original here. So we're going to disregard the filters. The other way that you can do it is to come over here to adjust, and this is where you'll open up your manual control. So in this case here with VN, we're given a bunch of sliders to control all the different elements. Now I want to stress here with anything color grading, color correcting, it is a creative thing. It's personal preference. And we just want to use these tools then to dial in the look that we're after. But the first place I'll always start is with the exposure or the brightness. We're going to grab this slider. You can see if we drag it one way, it's going to brighten the shot up. Drag it the other way, and it's going to darken the shot down. So you want to make the adjustment here as you need to. So in this case, I'm going to brighten this up a bit. From there, I'll come down to the color temperature. So this will either add more blue or make the shot more cool, or it'll add more yellow or orange to make it a warmer shot. From there, I would look for the contrast slider. So you can see as we move this around, we're washing out the image a bit. And this way here, we're making it more contrasty. We're darkening the blacks, we're boosting some of the colors a little bit. So in our case here, this shot here is a little washed out. So we're going to boost the contrast here to bring some of that back. Now from there, I'd be looking for a vibrance control to help us adjust the intensity of the colors in things like our skin tones. We can see if we dial this down, we're taking some color away. If we boost it up the other way, then we're bringing more of that color back. And you can see if we go too far, that's probably a little bit extreme. So maybe something around here. Now let's just do a quick preview before and after. So I'm going to hit this little button down here. This is before, this was the original, and this is where we're at right now just from making these minor changes. So these are the main tools that I'd be looking for, and this is the order that I would approach them. And once you're getting this looking close to the way you'd like it, you can actually come back through some of these and just make more minor adjustments, because you might find after you've adjusted some of these things that you might want to brighten it back up a little bit or add a little bit more color. And obviously there's more control in here to really help you dial some of this stuff in. But in most cases, these are the main tools that you're going to use. All right, another Another example for you, I'm over in CapCut now with the same clip imported. CapCut is another great video editing tool on Windows, on Mac, on iOS, on Android, and it's got a lot of the same color controls and functionality that we just saw in VN. If we select a clip here, we can come up to filters, and there's a bunch of different looks and filters that we can apply to our clip. And if we select our clip, come over here to adjustments, let's scroll down. You can see that we've got a lot of those same controls here as well, with the color temperature, the saturation, the brightness, contrast. It's got illumination here instead of exposure, but it's the same thing. You can see we're adjusting the brightness here. So you'll see that a lot of these tools and applications will have a lot of the same functionality. But if we come up here to the top, then we also now have this auto adjustment tool here inside of CapCut 2. Now, generally for years, it was like a general rule to not use the built-in auto adjustment features for color grading or color correcting inside of these tools because they were that bad. In a lot of cases, they would make the footage worse. But you can see that CapCut's now added this as well. It is marked as a pro feature, so this is something that you will need to be on their pro plan. But if we select this, then you can see that it does a pretty good job of correcting this for us. And we can adjust the strength here as to how intense that effect or the effects that it's applying here to our video are coming through. So again, a quick little before and after. This is before, this is after. Not bad, but we still have the ability down here as well to make further adjustments to these things. So if we wanted to adjust the contrast from here, we've got access to that slider here as well, boost some of the colors a little bit, but we're not starting from scratch with this, which I think is awesome. So this is the first time I've ever really recommended that the auto adjustment tool could be a useful thing for you. Now, CapCut does have a whole bunch of AI tools and things in here. From what I've found, this one has no mention of this being an AI adjustment here. I mean, it could well be now, or if it's not yet, then maybe it will be at some point in the future. But either way, I'm pretty impressed with how well this works. Now, a lot of video editing tools these days will also pack in a lot of more pro or advanced color correction tools in here too. So up here, we've got things like your hue, your saturation, your luminance control, so we can really dial things in. So let's go to this orange here and let's adjust orange here in our shot. So I'll just adjust this slider. We can see that we're making adjustments to just that color. Likewise, if we pick, say, blue here, maybe for the background, we could adjust that too. So now it's looking a bit more purple. We can then even amplify the amount of color with the saturation here. So you can see we're bringing out more purple here. So you can really get granular with this stuff in here too. Again, more pro level options. So I'm actually gonna come back here. I'm gonna delete our clip here before I show you the next couple. Let's just bring our clip back in here as it was in its original form. And instead of doing our basic corrections or playing around with the HSL here, let's jump over to curves, which again is another more pro level tool. And again, I'm going to try and keep this as a beginner tutorial here, but I want to show you what you have access to. So as you progress, you know you've got access to these tools to really dial things in. So I'm going to click on this line here and I'm going to add 2 points. And this one here is going to let us adjust the darker areas of our shot. So if I pick this up and I move it up, it's going to brighten them up. And if I pull it down, it's going to bring those down. It's going to darken them up. Likewise up here, this is going to have the same effect, but for the lighter areas of our shot. So if I lift this up, then the light areas are going to become lighter. So you can see we're able to add some contrast to our shots just by adding what they call a simple contrast curve here, by adjusting these points and moving them around. And add in some more points here. Now you're not just limited to these 2 points, you could really add points anywhere along here and make minor adjustments to things to again get the shot that you're looking at. But you can also do it on an individual color channel as well. So we could just adjust the reds, the greens, and the blues from here too. And then the last tab over here is the color wheels. This is another common, more professional tool that you can use to adjust things in your video. So you can see we've got control over the shadows or the dark areas, the mid-tones for tint, for offset, and on these color wheels here, we can actually pick up this center mark and we can move it around. So if we want to add more orange, we can drag this little pointer here towards the orange. Likewise, we want more blue, we can slide it towards the blue. We don't have to move this much to really be able to adjust the colors here. So let's say we want to make adjustments to the shadows or the dark areas, then again, we can grab this piece here and we can move that around. And there's also these sliders on either side of these to adjust the brightness. So if we want to brighten up the dark areas, the shadows in this case of our shot, we can do that here, lift that up or darken them down. And we've also got saturation on this side or intensity of this. So we could add more color, more saturation. I mean, that actually doesn't look too bad. Or we can take some of the color out. So the further down we go here, we're removing the color, so we'll end up with a black and white video. As I said, the basic tools are going to be more than enough for you, but know that you can come in here, you can tweak and adjust and play around with things in here as well to really get the look that you're after. So a before and after of our color wheel adjustments here. Not bad. Now in terms of pricing, right now you can get CapCut Pro for $7.99 per month. If you're jumping on an annual plan, it's a one-time $9.99 for a one-off month, or you can access it for $74.99 per year. Now the next tool I want to show you is an AI tool that's actually built into Adobe Premiere. So yes, you will need to have an Adobe Premiere subscription to be able to access this one, but I want to show you how far the AI stuff has actually come along. So in Adobe Premiere, you want to make sure that you've got their Lumetri color panel enabled, which you can come up to window at the top and just select that here. And this again is very similar to what you've seen already in this video from VN and from CapCut. You've got your basic color controls here, which they actually call basic correction. You've also got access to the curves and the color wheels and everything from this section too. But in order to access their AI tool now, it's back up here under basic correction and we hit auto. Now, this one they say uses their Adobe Sensei AI to make the adjustment for us. So we're going to hit auto here and you can see the adjustment that it's made. And it's really not that bad. To me, it's probably a little bit over-saturated or a little bit too contrasty, but again, it is personal preference. And if we look at a before and after here, enabled and disabled, I mean, it does look better than the original for sure, but it's probably a little bit too intense. So we could just come down here to intensity and we could lower that down. And to me, that's looking much better. But if we look down here even further, we can actually see the adjustments that have been applied to our clip. So if we want to dial things in, we want to adjust the contrast or the exposure, make it a little bit brighter, a little bit darker, then we can do that from here too. Now, just to test this AI with a different clip, let me go ahead now and import a different one. Let's try this one here. So we've got a much darker shot here. Let's see what the AI does with this one. So we've got the clip selected. Let's come up here to auto and it's brightened it up. Now we can adjust the intensity of these adjustments again. So we could boost this up a little bit. Okay, lightens up the background a bit more. And we could probably even then dial in the saturation a little bit more just to boost the colors a little bit. But overall, if we look at a before and after, so it was before, this is after. Well done, Adobe AI. Now, in regards to pricing for Adobe Premiere Pro, you can access it monthly on a month-to-month basis for $31.49 per month. If you're paying annually, monthly, that's $20.99 per month. Or if you want to pay it once annually, that's $239.88. There's one more tool that I want to show you, and that's called Film.ai. This is another AI-based color grading and color correction tool. And there is so much in here. It says here, meet your AI colorist. So I've just signed up on their free account. I'm going to log in. So when you log in, this is what you'll see. I then hit this little button here to upload some media. So I've selected our clips. I've got two here. This washed out one is the one that we've been already playing with throughout this video. The first thing we need to do in here is that we need to select the type of footage this is, or we select which camera this was shot on. So I'm just going to select Rec 709 for this one. And then there's just so many tools and things in here. It's pretty amazing. But I'm going to show you the AI stuff. We're then going to come down to add a tool, and you can see the amount of tools that are in here. We've got things like AI color match, AI auto color, which is what we'll be playing with, AI color extract. But there's also their new one up here, which is neural tone. So we'll take a look at that one too. So let's just go AI auto correct here. Let's select on that one. So it's automatically gone through, it's analyzed our clip and it's adjusted it for us. So we can disable this, we can turn it on or off, and we can see what the difference here is. But there is this setting that's on here, favor context. And it says that this will perform a color correction, but within the original context of the image. So if the original image is dark and cold, then the AI autocorrect is going to try and preserve that feeling. So it's going to create you a look that is still dark and cold, but adjusted. So in this case, I'm going to actually turn that off. So we want no context as to how this was shot. Let's turn that off. And this is the look that this is now pulled out for Down the bottom here, we've got our opacity slider or our intensity slider, so we can adjust the strength strength of these effects or this look that it's applied, but it's not done a bad job. And again, you've got so many different tools and things that you could add in here to make more adjustments. So if you then wanted to adjust the skin tones or adjust your exposure, your white balance, all of these things, you can do all of these things in here too. So I'm going to remove this effect now. We're going to hit the X. I'm going to come down here to add a tool, and then I'm going to add this neural tone. And then over on the side here, we get to choose which one of these we like the look of. Now, obviously, I think this light in the background is throwing this out a little bit. Same with some of the other tools as well. But we get to scroll down here and say which ones we like the look of here. So maybe we'll pick this one down the bottom here. We can click through them to see what they look like. But the idea is that we're training the AI here. We're giving the AI feedback as to which one we like the look of. And then we can again dial in things like the exposure of this, the contrast levels, your white balance and tint, and we can apply all of the other effects and things in here too. So a before and after here with this effect applied. Now let's try the other clip here, JB Cool. So this one's a much cooler shot, as in color temperature. We'll come down here to add tool. We will choose, just try the neural tone with this clip. We can then go through and pick the one that we like the look of. I think this one's pretty good. And then maybe we would brighten it up a little bit. Could adjust the white balance if it was too much orange. And a little before and after. This was before, this is after. So it's created this nice cinematic look from this image. So as I said, there's lots of different tools and things in here. I'm definitely not going to show you them all, but let's come back to our first clip here. Let's make sure that all the color grades and everything are disabled or removed in this case. There's one more thing that I want to show you, and that's this magic mode. So let's press on this, and what this does is it steps you through building out a color grade or a color look for your video. So it starts off first with exposure, so that's what we're on now, and then from the previews down the side here, we pick the one that you like the look of. So we could go brighter here, we could go darker down here. You might say, okay, I like the look of this one, so now let's go across to the next one, and this is the white balance. So we get to choose if we want a warmer looking shot or if we want a cooler looking shot. We're just clicking through to find what we like with each of these adjustments. Next onto contrast. So it helps you build out the look or the style that you're after step by step, which I think is pretty cool. And again, here's a quick before and after, and we've only gone through the first 3. But once you've got the look that you're after, then you can just hit download up here. You can download a LUT or a lookup table or even a color profile here, and you can import that into your editing app or into your editing software. So going back to CapCut, for instance, where we were earlier in the video, instead of applying all of these effects and things in here, we could use a tool like Film.ai, and we can generate that LUT file or the look file. We can then come over here to adjustments, basic, and we can upload that file in here. And that then will apply that look to our clips.
Qua toàn bộ chương 5, chúng ta có thể thấy rằng màu sắc không chỉ đơn thuần là yếu tố kỹ thuật mà còn là một yếu tố mang tính cảm xúc và nghệ thuật trong sản xuất video. Từ việc hiểu đúng sự khác nhau giữa color correction và color grading đến việc nắm được cách sử dụng LUTs cũng như các phương pháp cân bằng màu sắc trong video. Tất cả đều góp phần giúp hình ảnh trở nên chuyên nghiệp, thống nhất và truyền tải cảm xúc tốt hơn đến người xem. Thông qua nội dung chương này, làm cho chúng ta nhận thức rõ rằng việc chỉnh màu không chỉ là bước hoàn thiện hình ảnh mà còn là công đoạn thể hiện tư duy thẩm mỹ, phong cách cá nhân và định hướng cảm xúc của người làm video. Một video có màu sắc đúng và đẹp sẽ tạo được ấn tượng mạnh mẽ, giúp người xem dễ dàng tập trung và cảm nhận trọn vẹn nội dung mà video muốn truyền tải.